A 16-year-old boy steps off a plane in a country he's never seen before with exactly $500 in his pocket. With exactly $500 in his pocket. He has no idea what he's supposed to do with that money. $500. The money his family put in his pocket for him to use. But he can't bring himself to spend it because he knows exactly how hard it was to earn. He finds a job, a way to earn without touching what he already has. The pay, just $1.20 an hour. Fast forward to today, and that same boy is a billionaire worth $15 billion. And the owner of an NFL team. Here's one of the best parts of this story. He made a part sitting in your own car, or your father's car, right now. You pay attention to the brand when you buy that part, you just never know it's him. And somewhere between that sink full of dirty plates and that football stadium, there's a decision most people would never dare to make. He's here today, but this story started somewhere else, a place where dreams turned into hope. Let's turn the camera there. His name is Shahid Khan. He was born in 1950 into an ordinary family that worked in construction. His mother taught mathematics at a local school. His father ran a small shop selling surveying equipment. At 16, with his family's support, he goes to America to study engineering, alone. He becomes the first person in his family to ever go to America. He arrives early, before the university dorms have even opened. He spends his first night at a YMCA, paying $2 for a bed. Spending that money feels so hard for him that he looks around for another way. He walks into the YMCA kitchen and asks, "Is there any work I could do?" They point him to a stack of dirty dishes. The washing job pays $1.20 an hour. To him, that number means something different than it would to most Americans.
It's more than almost anyone back home could hope to earn in a single hour. Every day he studies until late at night, then heads down to wash dishes. Steam, soap, stacks of plates, hour after hour, just to protect the $500 in his pocket. While he studies, he also takes a part-time job at a local auto parts factory. He watches how parts are built step by step, burning every process into his memory. Everywhere he goes, one question runs through his head. How could this be done better, faster, smarter? In one of the best days of his university years, the most important moment of his life happens. He meets a young woman named Anne, and their friendship turns into a marriage that fills the rest of his life. He graduates in 1971 with a degree in industrial engineering. He starts as an engineer at the same factory where he once worked part-time, and quickly becomes engineering coordinator. But his biggest step forward isn't that title. He does something so simple, so almost obvious, that anyone could have thought of it. He designs a one-piece bumper for pickup trucks. It sounds too simple to matter, but it's about to reshape an entire industry. Before his design, bumpers were bulky, expensive, and slow to produce. His version was lighter, cheaper, faster, and factories everywhere suddenly wanted it. In 1978, he starts his own company and calls it Bumper Works. 2 years later, he buys Flex-N-Gate from the very man who once hired him as an employee. The student has just become the boss of his old boss. But here's the part nobody tells you. Being taken seriously as a young immigrant in a billion-dollar industry doesn't just happen because you want it to. No door opens on its own. Every contract, every deal, every handshake has to be earned twice as hard. For years, he grinds through the unglamorous work of manufacturing. One factory slowly becomes 2, then a dozen, spread across states and countries. Along the way, skeptics whisper the same question in every boardroom he walks into. Can a foreign name really run an American factory floor? He answers every doubt the same way. not with words, but with output. Truck after truck, bumper after bumper, contract after contract. By the 1990s, Flex and Gate has grown from a single workshop into a real competitor to the industry's giants. Executives who once ignored his calls now ask for meetings.
You'd think that would be enough, but it isn't. He wants a place among the famous too, and bigger steps to take. In 2010, he sees the big step he's been looking for. He tries to buy the NFL's St. Louis Rams. The deal almost happens. Then, at the very last moment, another billionaire uses his right of first refusal, and the team slips right out of his hands. For most people, this is a defeat. For him, it's just a step not yet taken. He doesn't give up. A year later, a different door opens. The Jacksonville Jaguars are for sale. This time, nothing stops him. He closes the deal for $770 million. It's written into American history. He becomes the first foreign-born member of an ethnic minority to ever own an NFL franchise. The league, the media, and plenty of fans had never seen an owner who looked or sounded like him. He doesn't know how this will go either, but he steps in anyway. 2 years later, Forbes puts him on its cover. The boy who washed dishes to protect his pocket money, who took a factory job, who barely made it to America on an engineering program. That boy is now the face of the American dream. Where you are matters, but where you came from matters more. He donates $10 million to the university that accepted him and made it all possible. A year after buying the Jaguars, he crosses the Atlantic. He buys Fulham FC, one of England's oldest and most storied Premier League clubs. Now, he isn't just a factory owner from the Midwest. He becomes a presence in professional sports on both sides of the ocean, in two very different sports cultures. American football fans know his name from Sundays in Jacksonville. Premier League fans know it from Saturdays at Craven Cottage. Most of them have no idea it's the same man.
With his son, Tony, by his side, he makes an even bigger move. Together, they launch a brand new wrestling promotion built to rival WWE called AEW. Years later, he even steps into the ring himself, walking out in front of a roaring crowd during one of the promotion's biggest storylines. The dishwasher from the YMCA kitchen is now cheered by thousands under bright lights. Today, his company Flex and Gate runs 76 factories across the globe. More than 27,000 people show up to work there every single day. The parts rolling off those production lines end up inside Ford, Toyota, BMW, and Nissan vehicles. If you've driven one of those cars in recent years, there's a real chance a part he personally engineered was sitting right beneath you. You just never knew his name was attached to it. He also owns luxury hotels now, including a Four Seasons property in Toronto. The dishwasher, who once counted every dollar, now builds hotels where a single night costs more than his first year of wages combined. Somewhere on a hotel floor he owns, a young employee might be earning their very first paycheck, with no idea their boss once stood exactly where they're standing. There's also a yacht, a 122-meter super yacht named Kismet, worth around $360 million. Built to carry him across the same ocean he once crossed with nothing but a suitcase and $500. His story keeps circling back to one simple truth. Nobody tells you which door to open, or even where that door is. But once you find it, you can push it open all the way. There's a second truth hiding underneath the first one. The people who doubted him were never wrong about how hard it would be. It really was hard. They were wrong about whether he could do it. And he did. The road from a dishwashing sink at a YMCA to a multi-billion-dollar empire started with a single decision. A scared 16-year-old chose to walk through a door that nobody had offered to open for him. If you think Khan's rise sounds impossible, wait until you hear about a door-to-door shampoo salesman named John Paul DeJoria, pronounced DeJoria. He built a billion-dollar empire while living out of his car. And that story is even harder to believe. Think about that the next time you see a Jaguars game, a Fulham match, or a car rolling down the street. Somewhere behind it, there's a story that started with a scared kid and a sink full of dirty plates. That 16-year-old who landed in America with $500 is now a name written into NFL history. And somewhere, he still remembers exactly what it felt like to earn $1.20 an hour.